Alright, so that Oddish run sucked, and I was pretty upset about it. Unfortunately, since I only got one shot, I couldn't just redo Oddish, and I didn't want to anyway, but I could do the next best thing and do a run with Bellsprout. Now, Bellsprout and Oddish on the surface seem extremely similar. Now, to be fair, objectively, Bellsprouts are better. It has a better average. It sacrifices a little bit of defense, but it gets much higher attack, a little bit lower special, but a little bit higher speed. In fact, it is 33% higher. The moveset is also very similar to Oddish's, but I do think the subtle differences are going to be a huge factor, and let me explain.
If you enjoy the vids, like, comment, and subscribe.
Let's start off with the first Weedle battle. This battle was difficult for Oddish, but it's actually a little bit harder for Bellsprout. Vine Whip does do more damage because it is almost twice as powerful. With that said, because I have lower HP and have lower defensive stats, it actually is a little tougher. Theoretically, I could waste all my power points and use Struggle and that would work, but I wanted to see if I would have to, and it only took a couple battles until I was able to win. So as it would turn out, that isn't necessary, and that saves a good chunk of time. I'm unable to beat the trainer in Brock's gym, so I'm going directly to Brock, and he's pretty easy. It takes 2 Vine Whips to knock out Geodude, although Tackle deals a ton of damage. Thankfully, you level up not once but twice, and can easily knock out Onix with Vine Whip. Thus far, it seems like they're pretty similar, although we didn't level up as much, which you might think is a bad thing. But then we get to Route 3. If you remember, the youngster on Route 3 with the Ekans was absolutely abysmal, because it used Wrap, and it was terrible because it took forever for me to defeat with Absorb. Well, at level 13, Bellsprout learns Wrap, and this is huge. Remember, Oddish did not get a non-grass attacking move till level 24. Being able to use one at level 13 is massive, because although we're still slower, we are able to knock out the Ekans in only one try. And remember that Zubat from the Team Rocket member inside Mount Moon? Well, unfortunately, it still takes 2 hits with Vine Whip to knock out Rattata, and it did hit us twice. And even with that, we were able to knock out the Zubat in just 2 wraps. By which I mean 2 selections of the move Wrap. It can last anywhere between 2 and 5 turns. We weren't faster, even though we have a little better speed. It didn't matter. Wrap made a huge difference. How much of a difference? It took me over an hour to get past here after I reset the run. This time, only 9 minutes. This is night and day, but as we head towards Cerulean City, this is around when we got Acid in the Oddish run, and we're at a lower level. Will that hold Bellsprout back? Not in the slightest, because in addition to getting Wrap, Bellsprout gets Growth. Growth is one of the most overpowered moves in all of Generation 1. It increases the Pokemon who uses it special by 1 stage. That is both offensive and defensive in this generation, and as time goes on, that'll even lead to some badge boosting. And in order to see exactly what I mean, let's talk about my battle with Misty. We can use 3 to knock out Staryu in 1 hit. Unfortunately, because I was not at full health, Starmie is able to knock me out. But as you'd expect, once I use a potion, Misty will become trivial. Now, if you want more information on the badge boost glitch, in the description, but we're only gaining attack at this point, doesn't matter. It's working as intended right here, and we are easily able to defeat Misty. Only second try, because I refused to heal the first time to see if I could save a potion. But Misty wasn't that hard for Oddish either. How is Rival 2 going to be? Guess what? In case you missed it, I have Sleep Powder now. While we get outsped, we can put the Rival's Pidgeotto to sleep, and then we can start spamming Growth, both to increase our attack a little, and to increase our special for Charmander. Unfortunately, Pidgeotto wakes up fairly quickly. Thankfully, it misses with a Sand Attack. I had to reset an earlier run because Sand Attack can make this whole strategy just not work. 75% Sleep Powder, 85% Wrap, Sand Attack's just not good. But if you get decent enough RNG, and I was being a little greedy, let's be honest, probably should have set up Growths against the Abra. Doesn't matter. We knock out Pidgeotto, Now, here comes the Abra, and of course, it's a good time to set up the rest of our growths, because why the heck not? We can use Vine Whip to knock out the Abra. Rattata outspeeds, we can also knock it out with a single Vine Whip, unsurprisingly. We level up, thankfully Charmander goes for Leer. Scratch would have done some decent damage. Vine Whip nearly one-shots, it's doing more damage than Wrap after 6 growths. And another Leer results in a victory. Had it used Ember, I don't think it would have done very much to me at all. But if it used 2 scratches, maybe. Either way, this was actually a 3rd try victory. But hey, remember how difficult this was for Oddish? I am very, very happy. This time around, there's really nothing to talk about until we get to the SSN. Just like with Oddish, we can't teach Body Slam, unfortunately, but Rival 3 is still not going to be much of a problem. We're going to do the same thing we did last time to Pidgeotto, and we're going to put it to sleep and then start spamming Growth. This literally serves 3 purposes: boost our special attack, our special defense, and our attack due to badge boost glitch. Pidgeotto wakes up and you'll notice I've deleted Wrap for Acid. It's just a little bit more reliable and it's same type. Unfortunately, we get a crit. I think that did less damage. Sand Attack Miss is pretty clutch, and we're able to knock out the Pidgeotto, but we're under half health, so that's not amazing. Eradicate goes for Tail Whip. That's actually pretty good. Acid one-shots. Now, because of Growth, I'm not actually worried about Kadabra unless it crits, and it goes for Teleport, and we knock it out with Acid. Now out comes Charmeleon. Acid's just doing normal because we level up, and see how little Ember does? I probably should have gone for Vine Whip. It probably would have done more damage, but who cares? Only 2 Acids needed. 2 Embers did next to nothing. We barely lost any HP after Pidgeotto. And once again, a fight that Oddish struggled with, Bellsprout absolutely destroys. Now, a battle even Oddish didn't struggle with is Crewman Surge. Just to make it consistent, I decided to put Voltorb to sleep because it can use Sonic Boom, and set up 6 growths. It will eventually wake up and even miss with the Sonic Boom, and it'll also miss with a Tackle, but we'll one-shot with Vine Whip. We one-shot Pikachu with Vine Whip, and after next speed, we don't one-shot Raichu. It gets a critical hit, ignoring all my growths, and it still doesn't come close to knocking me out because, you know, I'm a grass type. Man, I don't know if we can demote Surge any further. I mean, he's already lost the rank of Ensign after that last debacle. And for those of you wondering, I'm just pulling ranks out of Star Trek. I don't know anything about the US military. I just think it's funny to keep demoting this guy because he can't seem to win a battle. So if he wins, he can get promoted back to Ensign. Who knows, if I play poorly enough, maybe he'll even become Admiral Surge. We'll see. Anyway, after we beat Surge, nothing really all that interesting happens. We go through Rock Tunnel, we go through Celadon City, and eventually we battle Giovanni. Now, you might notice that Vine Whip has been deleted and we have Razor Leaf. So, critical hits in Generation 1 are extremely strange, and it doesn't matter for Onix and Rhyhorn, but it actually does matter versus Kangaskhan. We have a 63% chance of getting a critical hit, and of course, we get 2 consecutive no critical hits, and for the first time, I've lost a Rage. So that makes me rage a little bit, but it's just a little bit of bad luck. The way critical hits work in Generation 1, in case you need to know, is based off of your Pokemon's base speed. So not its current speed stat, the speed its species have, so in this case, 40. Your regular critical hit ratio is 40 over 512. Which is roughly 8%. However, for increased critical hit moves, rather than dividing by 512, you divide by 64, which is why a ton of Pokemon crit every single time. Bellsprout's in an annoying position where it crits too much to use boosting moves like Growth, but it doesn't crit enough for it to be reliable. So we're gonna have to deal with that. For now, second try Giovanni, not the best, but whatever. After we beat Giovanni, we'll eventually make our way to Erica's gym, and just like with Oddish, it's a good idea to battle the trainers here. We have Acid, so it shouldn't take too long to defeat them, and we have way higher attack anyway. Plus, once we defeat Erica, we can't come back, and this is usually when the game starts getting a little bit harder. So while extra experience points may cost time in the short term, it may end up benefiting Bellsprout in the long term, since I might be able to save my rare candies if Koga or Rival 5 will prove to be difficult. As with Oddish, Erica is a complete joke because she'll only use Poison Powder. Now, I did make a little bit of a mistake here. I was running low on Acid because I did battle every Pokemon here. So, after Victory Bell gets low in health, I go for Razor Leaf and she heals. This wasted a little bit of time. You're gonna see, I'm not gonna really narrate this battle. I will have one acid to spare that I should have used. Gonna be honest, I was kind of curious how much a non-critical hit Razor Leaf would do, since it is double resisted, but I was +6 in special, and if you're wondering why I bothered setting up growth, that was exactly why. I was worried I'd run out of acid, and if I had to rely on Razor Leaf, at least it would also be boosted. Regardless, as I said, very easy. Will Rival 4 prove a problem? It was last time. Let's see. Things start off not great. I mean, Whirlwind's good, but I miss a Sleep Powder. I get hit, not a lot of damage, put Pidgeotto to sleep. I'm not even going to set up any moves. I'm just going to use Acid, and after 2, Pidgeotto is knocked out. Execute, I outspeed and knock out with a single Acid. Gyarados goes for Dragon Rage. I go for Razor Leaf. I do get the crit, but it just survives. Then it hits me with Bite, so we're pretty low on HP. Thankfully, Kadabra goes for Teleport, and we should be fine. Charmeleon goes for Ember, and we're actually going to lose. That sucks. I mean, I could have used some growth, so let's just try that one again. That's my bad. In my second attempt, I try to set up a bunch of growth, and it was looking alright until Pidgeotto woke up and used Sand Attack. That was the only move I really didn't want it to use, and while it won't come into play against Execute, I simply cannot hit the Gyarados. And eventually, I will miss so much that the Gyarados ends up knocking me out. So that is another loss to Rival 4. This time around, I actually decide to play with a modicum of intelligence. And guess what? After putting Pidgeotto to sleep, I don't set up against the Pidgeotto with Sand Attack. I set up against Execute. And the reason I didn't is exactly what just happened. I missed the Sleep Powder, it put me to sleep, and that's going to waste a bunch of time. But it's not really a threat. And eventually, we can put it to sleep. We can set up the growths. And at this point, I should win, assuming I don't get a critical hit against Gyarados. Of course I do, but that's alright. I mean, we don't have a lot of HP. Kadabra obliges with a Teleport, and I don't think it would have mattered because look how little Ember is doing. Alright, we should have done first try victory. That was my bad. This occasionally happens where a Pokemon is really doing well, and I overestimate the fact it still has weaknesses. And I think we can see versus Rival 4, as good as Bellsprout is, it is still a slow grass Pokemon. There are certain things I need to watch out for. We don't badge boost speed yet, so I can't outspeed much. So I've got to be careful. That said, we don't really have any difficult fights until either Koga or Rival 5. As per usual, I decide to pick Koga first, and let's see how that's going to go. I outspeed Coughing number 1 and put it to sleep. I'm trying to set up all my growths, but Coughing is not cooperating with me in the slightest and keeps waking up. Eventually, I just decide to let it hit me, and then I decide to put it back to sleep. Then I get a critical hit, and then I knock it out. Very fun. We don't outspeed the Muck, but we are able to put it to sleep, and Razor Leaf, even without a critical hit, is only doing about half, a little less. Actually, I hit again, it's doing obviously around half, because it's a 2-hit KO. So that's not bad. We level up, but since we're using special moves, that doesn't really matter. Try not to get a crit. I get 1. Please don't get a crit. I get 2. So it takes 3 hits to knock out Coughing. And now we have to fight a Wheezing. Hopefully it doesn't use self-destruct. Sludge is bad. It knocked me out. Okay, you know what? There's something I want to do here. Had I a little bit more experience points, I wouldn't level up in the middle of this battle. As a result, my defense would be higher and I would have survived Sludge and maybe could have knocked out Wheezing. So let's just level up quickly and come back. This time, we're actually at full health too, so it should be double good. I put Coughing to sleep, and this Coughing decides to cooperate with me fully. I believe in Gen 1, you can be asleep up to 7, but really 8 turns because of the way sleeping works. And Coughing was asleep next to the maximum while I set up all my growths. Got the worst critical hit luck in the world, but we knock it out. Muck outspeeds me, does some damage. I go for Razor Leaf. Of course it crits, it's more likely, and it does like a quarter. Alright, Muck uses Poison Gas, I put it to sleep. Thankfully I get a non-crit, so that's really good, because even if Muck wakes up, we'll knock it out. 2 down. Just like last time, we get a crit, Coughing hits us, we get another crit, Coughing attacks us with some more power, and we're able to knock it out, but this time we're at 54 HP. Assuming Wheezing doesn't use self-destruct, we might win. Well, if we used Smog last time, we could have won. We thankfully put it to sleep. Please no crit. Ooh, it's doing about half. It stays asleep. Yay, we win. And 2 no crits. That's really good luck. Now, you might be wondering, J-Rose, why don't you use Mega Drain? Trust me, guys. I have a plan. With Oddish, I had to use Mega Drain here because I had no choice. It was either Mega Drain or move that confused me. Razor Leaf kind of sucks, but it is a fairly powerful move, and to this point, yes, we probably would have beat Koga the first time if we had Mega Drain, but one extra try to try and preserve the strategy I'm planning, I'll take it. Now I'm going to keep the same moveset when we battle Rival Fivel. Hopefully it works, let's see. Pidgeot immediately goes for Wing Attack. I put it to sleep though. I set up 1 growth, 2 growths. It wakes up, so I'm going to set up 3 growths. Hopefully we outspeed. We don't. It hits me again, but thankfully we're able to put it back to sleep. And I'm going to keep setting up growths. I didn't realize I'd used one before, so I thought I set up all 6, but it turns out 5 to outspeed Pidgeot. Of course, I don't have very much HP, but I'm still able to knock it out. This battle is merely a scouting battle, though, for me, so I'm not really concerned with winning or losing. I just want to see how things play out. Now, I'm going to go for Acid. It's going to not knock out Execute. Okay, sure. And it goes for Poison Powder. Great. I'm worried about getting a crit, so I put Gyarados to sleep. I get the crit. It wakes up. Thankfully, the next move, I don't get the crit. That's 3 down. And here's what I was worried about. Do I outspeed Alakazam? No. Maybe 1 more growth than I would have. Again, I just realized now that I didn't use all 6. But the truth is, Alakazam is pretty fast. Probably the best thing to do is to level up using some trainers and then use my rare candies. Because if I'm able to outspeed Alakazam, this should be okay. Once again, Pidgeot goes for Wing Attack and I put it to sleep. This time I'm able to set up a whole lot of growths, 4 to be exact, and once Pidgeot wakes up, I'm able to put it back to sleep without it attacking because I now outspeed. I can set up the rest of my growths, and hopefully now Razor Leaf will knock it out. No crit, but still not enough to knock out Pidgeot. Doesn't matter, we don't get hit again, that's 1 down. Alright, well we're at a higher level, so we know Acid's gonna one-shot Execute, 2 down. Now, if we don't get a crit, we'll one-shot Gyarados. We get a crit, that's okay. Gyarados goes for Bite. That doesn't do very much. We knock it out, 3 down, but this is the moment of truth. Do we outspeed Alakazam? Yes, we get a crit, but because we set up the growths, Confusion does next to nothing. We're pretty good. All right, I'm going to try to put Charizard to sleep. I miss. Ember does next to nothing. I hit with the Sleep Powder. It stays asleep. Acid's doing over half. It wakes up, but it doesn't matter. We don't even level up after the Charizard. This worked perfectly. And just like Oddish, we gotta make a choice. Do we want to battle Sabrina? That didn't work out well for Oddish. Or do we want to go battle Blaine? We also have to decide what type of attacker we want to be. Do we want to use Swords Dance and be more of a physical attacker? Or do we want to stick with Growth and use our special? It's a tough call because Swords Dance is very, very good. And both Razor Leaf and Mega Drain aren't the strongest attacks. That said, with Swords Dance we'd have to use Double Edge, which has recoil, and we wouldn't get as many badge boosts. So it's something to think about. For now, let's stick with the exact same move pool and go battle Blaine. So Blaine's Growlithe, you've seen this done many times before. We try to put it to sleep and use all our growth. Unfortunately, Growlithe doesn't cooperate, but Growlithe can't do very much damage. So even though it attacks me a few times, eventually, we will knock it out and set up all our growths, and we'll have a lot of HP remaining. Ponyta. Unfortunately, we get the crit, Retroactive Super Potion. We try again, get a crit. It goes for Fire Spin, and it crits, which ignores my special boost, and every subsequent hit will also be a critical hit until the attack runs out. Awful, just truly terrible. But thankfully, we're able to knock out the Ponyta, and we lose. We level up. We're not going to be able to win here. Rapidash is going to outspeed us. You guys remember how this went for Oddish. It's going to be the same story. Although this time Rapidash does miss, and I don't get a crit, but it doesn't knock it out. So, yeah, Blaine 1 didn't work out well, but we could just level up quickly. I have a feeling this could go a lot better. Alright, so after quickly battling one of the trainers in Blaine's gym so we don't level up in the middle of the battle, I rebattle Blaine. I'm going to do a couple things differently. I mean, one thing that's going to be different is Growlithe is actually going to cooperate and let me set up all my growths. But the other different thing is I'm going to see if Acid deals more damage. And as it turns out, it does. So that's 1 down. I also use Acid against Ponyta. That's 2 down. Then again, look how much it did to Rapidash. It actually seems to be doing the exact same as Razor Leaf. it's just way less likely to crit. This time, I outspeed and fire spin, yes, it hits a few times, but with those growths, it's doing next to no damage. We knock out the Rapidash. Now out comes Arcanine. Acid's not doing half. Super Potion. All right, let's try that again. Acid's not doing half. Super Potion. Let's try that again. Acid. This time it goes for Fire Blast. No crit, thankfully. And I'm just going to go for Razor Leaf too. Oh my god. Well, that could have gone badly. I should have just used Acid. But I wanted to see how much Razor Leaf would do, to be honest, and the answer was not a lot. Regardless, I think you can see why Growth is vastly superior in many ways to Swords Dance. And with that, we were able to beat Blaine in only 2 tries. Let's see if we can beat Sabrina in only 1. You might notice as we start the battle, I'm a level higher. I battled a trainer, so we won't level up in the middle. I go for Sleep Powder, but it first goes for Psychic, and it does a ton of damage. I survive, put it to sleep. 1 growth. Still asleep, 2 growths. It wakes up 3, and we outspeed and put it to sleep. That was clutch. We're going to try to finish up growths, but I'm worried about Kadabra waking up early. It would be bad if it did. So I'm just going to go for 5. Go for Razor Leaf. It crits and obviously doesn't knock it out. There we do get Kadabra waking up, but it's too late. We knock it out. I decide to go for Razor Leaf against Mr. Mime, and I don't get the crit, which is good. We knock it out. I use Acid versus Venomoth, comes close to knocking it out. It goes for Leech Life, double super effective, but with the badge boost, we're still fine. We knock it out. We don't have a lot of HP for Alakazam, which gets a lot of critical hits. I decided I was being silly before. Acid will probably one-shot, and it does. Should have used it against Kadabra and Mr. Mime, but even with just 5 growths, we got enough badge boosts for Acid to one-shot, and that is it for the difficult gym leaders. Even Oddish found Giovanni 3 to be pretty easy, and so now we just have to worry about Rival 6 in the Elite 4, but we always show the 8th gym battle because it's supposed to be an epic battle, just never is. Truth be told, I have very little to say about this battle. You've seen the strategy used many times before. Listen, I know it's not the most exciting thing to use the exact same plan for every single battle, but to this point, I haven't had to mix it up. I know I will have to going forward, so this might be the last time I can just use Sleep Powder Growth and just sweep. But there's very little Giovanni's Pokemon can do. They're very, very underpowered in Red and Blue. Heck, even his Yellow team probably wouldn't do super well. At least they have powerful attacking moves, but these Pokemon can do next to nothing. And even though I get some crits, we were able to keep Razor Leaf on our Bellsprout to Rival 6. This is exactly what I wanted, because now I have the ultimate flexibility for the 5 remaining battles. And just like with Oddish, I have an idea in mind, and this time I might actually get to use it. Once again, I want to see how my current moveset will fare against Rival 6, so we're going to do nothing right now and just see if we can win as is. Pidgeot has a 50-50 chance of using Agility. It goes for it, and I put it right to sleep. I probably should set up Growths against Rhyhorn because it can do next to nothing, but for whatever reason, I decided to do it against Pidgeot, and it will probably cost me because after that Agility, it's very unlikely I outspeed. We're actually able to set up almost all of them before it wakes up. Goes for Wing Attack, does about 30 damage. We put it back to sleep, finish setting up our growths, and Razor Leaf almost knocks it out. Thankfully, Pidgeot stays asleep the whole time, and that's 1 down. Rhyhorn, it doesn't matter if we get a crit or not. That is going to be 2 down. Execute, I'm very confident we will one-shot, and we do. That's 3. Gyarados, I'd really like not to get a crit. We do. Leer misses. We get another crit, and this time it goes for Dragon Rage. So a 3-hit KO for Gyarados, that's unoptimal, but still, we have only 2 Pokemon remaining. Just like with Sabrina, I'm going to go for Acid, and this is what I was worried about. Razor Leaf would have done a lot more damage. It goes for Psychic. I'm not knocked out, but I'm at very low HP, and we level up. Now we won't outspeed the Charizard and have next to no HP remaining. It goes for Flamethrower, Sleep Powder misses, and that's the battle. Now, it would seem like the easiest solution would just be to use one of my rare candies, so I won't level up in the middle of the battle and everything should be fine, right? Well, as it would turn out, that's not entirely true. The biggest obstacle was Gyarados, although I rarely made it past Pidgeot. The truth is, Bellsprout's defense is pretty abysmal, and so if I didn't get Pidgeot to sleep right away, I'd need to reset. The battle you're seeing is the furthest I'd gotten, And unfortunately in this battle, everything that happened wrong the last time, at least with respect to crits, happened here. But this time the Gyarados actually goes for Bite. It does a significant amount of damage, and it actually knocks me out with Dragon Rage. So I could use the rest of my rare candies here if I wanted to. I could teach Mega Drain, but I decided to keep trying because we basically had it the first time. If we didn't level up in the middle of the battle, we would have won. So I'm fairly confident the strategy should work with just one rare candy used. This battle, I start off with some absurd luck. Agility, I miss with Sleep Powder, but another agility, I hit with Sleep Powder. And then Pidgeot stays asleep and allows me to set up all 6 growths and use one of the acids. It does wake up and we get triple agility. So we're at max HP. If we're going to win a battle, this is it. Rhyhorn, like I said, don't care about a crit. We knock it out. 2 down. Execute's going to be fairly easy to knock out. 3 down. Gyarados, I'd love not to get a crit. I do. This time, with all my badge boosts, Bite does next to nothing. And we're able to knock out Gyarados in just 2 hits at level 55. So it's a range. Now we just need a range on Alakazam. I go for Acid, don't get it, Psychic, thankfully no special drop, and we knock it out. Now out comes Charizard, unless it crits, we win. I go for Acid, get a very clutch defense drop. Unsurprisingly, Flamethrower does nothing, and since I got the defense drop, Acid knocks it out in just 2 hits, and we were able to save all our moves for the Elite Four. Having said that, even with this flexibility, we're still a single stage Pokemon that's slow. Easier said than done. Let's go and battle Lorelee for the first time and see how it's going to look. Well, in the first battle, it goes for Aurora Beam, does over half my HP. I miss with Sleep Powder. It goes for Rest. I miss with Sleep Powder. And it knocks me out with Aurora Beam. So yeah, that went well. Let's try that again. This time, Lorelee gets a Gen 1, 1 in 256 miss, and I hit with Sleep Powder. But don't worry, RNG evens out, it wakes up on the very first turn, and I set up 1 growth. I decide to just keep setting up growths, and thankfully it keeps going for Rest. Eventually it hits with Aurora Beam, but because growth boosts my special, it's not doing anything. It lowers my attack, which just further boosts my special. However, I'm gonna need to be careful because it can crit and knock me out. So we can see the pathway to victory here. We just need to be a little more cautious. All right, once again, we get Rest and miss Sleep Powder. Rest, we hit Sleep Powder, hooray! This time we get extremely good luck in that Dugong allows us to set up all 6 growths while it takes a nice little nap. Mega Drain is now here instead of Acid. I have no reason to use Acid for the rest of the run. And with 6 growths, Mega Drain is easily gonna one-shot Dugong. Cloyster isn't as bulky as Dugong, so if it one-shot Dugong, it'll one-shot Cloyster. Slowbro has pretty good special, but it's no match for Mega Drain Bellsprout. 3 down. Jinx could possibly survive. It does. Retroactive Super Potion means we're going to knock it out. And now we just have to knock out Lapras. Of course we get a critical hit, but the 10% chance it misses with Blizzard, pretty lucky. So, that is Lorelee. Took me 3 chances, but not too difficult. I think she should be fairly consistent. Funny enough, against Bruno, I make a little bit of a mistake, and I still win because it's Bruno. But I should have used an Elixir here. We only have 10 power points of Mega Drain, and we used a whole bunch of them versus Lorelee. So I actually start to run out and have to rely on Razor Leaf. And as you guys remember, Razor Leaf, not as good to use. It's a good thing I still have it, because I was actually going to erase it for a different move, but ends up being okay. I mean, realistically, the only things that can really knock out Bellsprout are Ice Punch Hitmonchan if it freezes or Mega Kick Hitmonlee. Neither of those things happen. It's just a possibility. And although I could have done this better, we easily beat Bruno just as we were all expecting. But now we have the Agatha Lottery. If you watched the Oddish video, it was a good video, we're going to use the same strategy and the exact same moveset, but this time we get to delete Razor Leaf, which I don't even want anymore, as opposed to Double Edge, which I'm going to want. Unfortunately, I actually forgot to get the Mimic TM. So I'm going to try this battle anyway. It's not going to work, because even though unlike with Oddish, since I have Razor Leaf, we do have the power points to knock out all her Pokemon, the luck we're going to need is pretty insane, and we get pretty bad luck. I mean, we could restore some HP with Mega Drain, but it's going to be double resisted by Pokemon like Golbat. So overall, I wasn't expecting this to work, and it's very unfortunate when you make it to Agatha and you don't even get a real attempt, but realistically, it's not the end of the world because we can just go and get Mimic, and I can talk to you guys a little bit about why I delayed teaching Mega Drain, because it might not seem obvious. Before I explain, let me say that I actually ended up using the rare candies before Lorelie because her Jinx was absolutely trolling me, either freezing me, getting crits, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So instead, I just level up, and now it's the same strategy you saw before, but Jinx is a 1-hit KO. Anyway, why delay teaching Mega Drain? It seems like the move you want to save is Double Edge. Why delay Mega Drain? Well, the thing is, I didn't know which of those two moves I would need at any given point. So I delayed both of them. Here was my fear. There could be a point where Acid simply wasn't good enough to get the job done. And theoretically, Double Edge would be the natural move to replace Acid with. They're both physical moves, and they aren't resisted by the same thing Grass moves are. If I did that, then I would not be able to delete Razor Leaf from Mega Drain until after Agatha, unless I wanted to run into the same problem we ran into with Oddish, where I had to delete Double Edge from Mimic to get past Agatha. So that raises the question, why not simply delete Acid with Mega Drain? And the answer is, I was always open to that happening. By delaying me teaching Mega Drain, if Acid wasn't cutting it, I could delete it for Mega Drain and run 2 Grass moves, and I was pretty sure with Sleep Growth strats, that would allow me to get through Agatha without ever having used Double Edge. Of course, like I did in the last run, I could have also purchased Takedown as a move, so I had other options, but that would have wasted a little bit of time, and Takedown's unreliable because it can miss 15% of the time. I don't know if what I did was necessarily the most optimal, but it was definitely the easiest way to guarantee I had the maximum use of both Mega Drain and Double Edge for the Elite Four. Alright, so now that we finished up with Bruno, I'm actually going to teach Mimic, and this time delete Razor Leaf, which we don't need anymore. Just like last time, Gengar confuses me on turn 1, but this time I'm able to put it to sleep right away. It stays asleep, but I hit myself in confusion. This shouldn't matter because Dream Eater will restore a lot of my HP. With that said, good time to Mimic Dream Eater, so I'm going to do that right now. Unfortunately, now Gengar wakes up. I only have set up 1 growth, so I'm not going to outspeed it. We need a little bit of luck. It goes for Nightshade, and that is the luck I needed. Even though it did damage, I put it back to sleep. I decide not to mess around, just go for Dream Eater, and we come very close to one-shotting, but that's going to restore a ton of my HP. Growth boosts the power of Dream Eater by a lot, because it is a special move. I decide to start setting up growth, so the rest of her Pokemon should be 1-hit KOs, and maybe I'll outspeed. Thankfully, Agatha goes for a Super Potion, and Gengar stays asleep as I set up the 3rd growth. I still don't outspeed, but Gengar stays asleep, and I knock it out. 1 down. I try to put Golbat to sleep, but can't. It uses Wing Attack, no worries. This time I put Golbat to sleep. I really want to outspeed it. It'll make this a lot more consistent, so I go for a 4th growth. Since I outspeed Golbat and it can't attack the turn it wakes up, I'm not worried about it waking up because I could just use another Sleep Powder. I'm able to set up all 6 growths, and then I knock it out with Dream Eater. Alright, 75% chance we get it against Haunter, and we knock it out with Dream Eater. Unfortunately, we level up, so those growths were for nothing. Arbok uses Acid, we don't have those defense boosts anymore, and we actually lose defense, which doesn't matter because we're going to put it to sleep right here. It outspeeds, but it doesn't wake up, and we knock it out. You may have even noticed I used a 2nd Sleep Powder, just to show off. Definitely not a misclick. Alright, just no Confuse Ray, we get Nightshade, and we put it to sleep. That should be the game if Gengar stays asleep. And that's... oh, God. Almost game, we're close. Alright, just in case it wakes up, I'm going to go for Mega Drain. Oh my God, it's going to... oh, we actually knock it out. Alright, well, that was fun. Never a dull moment when battling Agatha. I'm going to consider that a first try victory because the other battle really didn't count. I didn't even have Mimic. Although I probably would have lost even if I did. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We've gotten past her fairly quickly. Lance, we know, can be annoying, but since we're using Growth plus Mega Drain, we should be able to knock out Aerodactyl in 1 hit, even if it ends up outspeeding us. So that should make things easier, but only one way to find out. Please be kind, Aerodactyl. All right, first things first, Gyarados can use Hyper Beam, but it goes for Leer, and we put it to sleep. I'm going to start setting up growth. It stays asleep 1 growth, stays asleep 2 growths. Now we outspeed. So it's actually 3 growths because Leer counts as a badge boost. So that's great. Because I now outspeed, I'm going to keep going for growths until it wakes up because I should one-shot with Mega Drain. It wakes up after 5. I use Mega Drain and whoa, it does not knock it out. I guess 40 base power has its limitations. Thankfully, it doesn't use Hyper Beam. It goes for Dragon Rage. And we are able to knock it out with Mega Drain and restore almost all our HP. I have no idea why I put Dragonair to sleep, but I do. I'm going to set up the last growth. I'm going to use Mimic to mimic Hyper Beam because it's more powerful than Double Edge and doesn't have recoil damage. So it should be better versus Dragonite. Now I'm going to use Hyper Beam and Dragonair 1 is down. I'm going to use it again. Dragonair 2 is down. And now please outspeed. We outspeed! No! No! Oh, it missed us. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're all good. No worries. Very calm. Definitely no flashbacks to the Oddish run. We level up. That's not the end of the world, but we're going to do way less damage to Dragonite, especially if it decides to use Barrier. And would you look at that? Barrier and... okay. This could be a problem. We actually could run out of power points. Now, since Hyper Beam didn't knock it out, I need to recharge. And after another Barrier, Mega Drain, even with it being double resisted, is probably going to deal more damage at this point. So I just start going for it. Now, the big concern here is if Dragonite gets a Hyper Potion, I might lose. Please no Hyper Potion. No! I hate this game so much. I hate this game. Oh, I don't think we have enough power points. We only have 2 Mega Drains left. This is not good. Another Barrier, so we need a crit Hyper Beam or we lose, I think. All right, we're now out of Mega Drains and it's over half HP. Hyper Beam, please. All right, that's 1. Gotta recharge. No, please don't miss. That's really bad. No, what are you doing? Stop missing. All right, we might be able to do this still. We're getting really, really close. Oh, please knock it out. No. Okay, come on. Yes. Oh, wow. That was, I don't know what to describe that as. That was one of the worst case scenarios I could have imagined. Thank goodness we still won. And that was with Lance never attacking me. We almost lost the battle where the opposing Pokemon never attacked me. Although, truth be told, maybe if it went down to struggle, I would actually knock it out first. It would have been really close, and it would have wasted a ton of time. But we have made it past Lance in only 1 try, and we've made it to the champion. We have saved Double Edge for this very moment, so we don't have to use Acid. I even have Swords Dance just in case, but I'm gonna stick with Growth. I think it's the better move. It would mean a lot after that Oddish run to get a first try victory against the champion. Bellsprout has been amazing up to this point, but you guys know there are so many runs that fall apart right here. We don't know if Bellsprout will fall apart, but there's only one way to find out. All right, we don't want Wing Attack, and look how much damage it does. And we miss Sleep Powder. I hate this game. Another Wing Attack, and we don't lose, and we put it to sleep. Okay, let's make a comeback here. It's still asleep, 1 growth. It's still asleep, 2 growths. Still asleep, still outspeeding, 3 growths. I do think I outspeed now, so I'm going to go for Mega Drain. I do outspeed, restore about 30 HP, but it wakes up, so I need to put it back to sleep. It all comes down to this. We put it asleep. All right, another growth. It stays asleep. I don't want to risk it waking up. I'm just going to use Mega Drain here. We're now back up to 78 HP, and I'm going to knock it out with Mega Drain, 107 HP for Alakazam. But will we outspeed? Please? No, at least reflect. Please somehow knock it out. All right, well, I mean, that was okay, but 83 HP, it's going to get a crit. Yep, there we go. There's Psychic. Ooh, we survived. Yes! Okay, wow. Wow, what is with these battles? We're still in it. We're still in it. All right, we're at such low HP. I'm actually going to put Rhydon to sleep and use the final growths because I need all that special. I'm going to use growth number 5, and then I think about it, and I realize I'm probably going to level up, and maybe I want a little bit more speed at the end. So I'm just going to go for Mega Drain, and thankfully that's going to restore a huge chunk of my HP. And we're halfway done the champion battle. Executor can't do much to me, But it can troll me since it'll automatically use Hypnosis. I put it to sleep first. I don't think Double Edge will one-shot. It does not. And although I could use Mega Drain, I don't want to mess around. I'm just going to knock it out 114 HP for the final 2 Pokemon. Make that 117 HP, but we level up, so our defense boosts are gone. Please be kind, Gyarados. Dragon Rage is good. Please put to sleep. Yes! Alright, I should have saved both growths for here, but I'm going to use the last one, so that's +6. I can't use any more. Please stay asleep. It does. And now it doesn't even matter if I knock it out, because it won't have a turn to attack me. Of course, I don't knock it out. Wasn't expecting to, but we have made it to Charizard. We have fully maxed out our special. Please don't just trap me in Fire Spin. Alright, Fire Spin. Of course, but it's only doing 7 damage per. 2, 3, 4. Fire Blast hits. No crit, no crit. Oh, please put it to sleep. Yes, I think I win. I think I win. Please don't wake up. Oh my god. All right, no, it's not even doing half. This is actually pretty dicey. Please not Fire Spin. Fire Blast. No crit. Yes, it's back to sleep. It stays asleep. All right, we don't knock it out, but we're done. We won. We won. Unless this somehow knocks me out due to recoil, which it doesn't. First try victory. Woo! That was great. Man, Bellsprout. I don't know if you guys know this, but Weepinbell is my second favorite Pokemon in Gen 1 after Kadabra. So I'm very proud of Bellsprout. It did insanely good. And what a good illustration how some subtle changes from another Pokemon made a massive, massive difference. Growth alone was a big one, but Wrap early on really set the tone. And that's why I never get bored of these. Anyway, I know you guys are waiting for the rankings. I struggled a lot with this, but decided to put it in the same tier as Poliwag, which did minimum battle. The Poliwag minimum battles was a bit of a struggle. And if I had to do that one again, probably would have taken a little bit more in-game time to have a more consistent run and would have saved time in real time. So for that reason, despite the fact it is 5 levels higher and about half hour slower, I still think that in terms of how the runs felt to play, this was just as easy, if not even a little more so than Poliwag. I mean, it definitely doesn't fit in that big third tier, and I could make a new tier to just put Bellsprout in, but I try not to make too many of those unless I see a real need. So for now, it's going to be in tier 2, and that's all for me. This was a really fun run to do after the last one, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Take care.